So just think how each of our actions, if combined, could be a whole much greater than the sum of its parts. All and not just some banks stabilised. On fiscal stimulus, the impact multiplied because everybody is doing it. Rising demand in all our countries, creating jobs in each of our countries. And trade, once again, the engine of prosperity, the wealth of nations restored. No one should forget it was American visionaries who, over a half a century ago, coming out of the deepest of depressions and the worst of wars, produced the boldest of plans for global economic cooperation. They recognized that prosperity was indivisible. They concluded that to be sustained, it had to be shared. And I believe that ours too is a time for renewal, for a plan for tackling recession and building for the future. Every continent playing their part in a global New Deal, a plan for prosperity that can benefit us all. And first, so that the whole of our worldwide banking system serves our prosperity rather than risks it. Let us agree at our G20 summit in London in April rules and standards for proper accountability, transparency and reward that will mean an end to the excesses and will apply to every bank, everywhere and all the time. Second, America and a few others cannot be expected to bear all the burden of the fiscal and interest rate stimulus. We must share it globally. So let us work together for the worldwide reduction of interest rates and a scale of stimulus that is equal to the depth of the recession and round the world to the dimensions of recovery, and most of all equal to the millions of jobs we must safeguard and create. And third, let us together renew our international economic cooperation, help emerging markets rebuild their banks. Let us sign a world trade agreement to expand commerce. Let us work together also for a low-carbon recovery. And I am confident that this President, this Congress, and the peoples of the world can come together in Copenhagen in December and reach a historic agreement to combat climate change. And let us never forget, in times of turmoil, our duty to the least of these, the poorest of the world. In the Rwandan Museum of Genocide, there is a memorial to the countless children who were among those murdered in the massacres in Rwanda. And there is one portrait of a child, David. The words beneath him are brief, yet they weigh on me heavily. It says, name David, age 10, favorite sport, football, enjoyed making people laugh, dream to become a doctor, cause of death, tortured to death. Last words, the United Nations will come for us. But we never did. That child believed the best of us. That he was wrong is to our eternal discredit. We tend to think of a day of judgment as a moment to come, but our faith tells us, as the writer said, that judgment is more than that. It's a summary court in perpetual session. And when I visit those bare, rundown, yet teeming classrooms across Africa, they are full of children, like our children, desperate to learn. But because we've been unable as a world to keep our promises to help, more and more children, I tell you, are being lured to expensively funded madrasas, teaching innocent children to hate us. So for our security and our children's security and these children's future, you know, the greatest gift of our generation, the greatest gift we could give to the world, the gift of America and Britain, could be that every child in every country should have the chance 70 million children today do not have, the chance to go to school, to spell their names, to count their age, and perhaps learn of a great generation who are striving to make their freedom real. For let us remember that there is a common bond that across different beliefs, cultures, and nationalities unites us as human beings. It is at the core of my convictions. It's the essence of America's spirit. It's the heart of all our faiths. And it must be at the center of our response to this crisis too. Our values tell us we cannot be wholly comfortable while others go without comfort. That our communities can never be fully at ease if millions feel ill at ease. That our society cannot be truly strong when millions are left so weak. And this much we know: when the strong help the weak, it makes us all stronger. And this too is true. All of us know that in a recession, the wealthiest, the most powerful, and the most privileged can find a way through. So we don't value the wealthy less when we say that our first duty is to help the not so wealthy. We don't value the powerful less when we say our first responsibility is to help the powerless. And we do not value those who are secure less when we say our first priority must be to help the insecure. These recent events have forced us all to think anew. And while I've learned many things over these last few months, I keep returning to something I first learned in my father's church as a child. In these most modern of crises, I'm drawn to the most ancient of truths. Wherever there is hardship, wherever there is suffering, we cannot, we will not, we will never pass by on the other side.